So today we'll be just looking after the iPhone 17 Pro Max and looking about how this one differentiates from the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And first we just start with the its dimensions. So its dimension wise is like 163.4 by 78 by 8.8 millimeter in thickness. Weight wise, it is around 233 grams, which is quite lighter weight. If I feel like in hands, very comfortable to hold. This time, like Apple went with the unibody aluminum casing on the back. And so if you look on the casing itself, so it's currently like in a two color tone on the back. So this part is obviously is of glass, and then the rest of the material is aluminum. Now there's also aluminum behind the glass as well, and obviously like it's kind of a subjective thing regarding the design of this one. But yeah, if you're the person who likes like lighter colors or funky colors, so this might be the appealing color to you, the orange one. Otherwise, like the more subtle one will be much more better option in terms of will be the blue one. That's I think the best choice for the elegance, if I believe. But yeah, again, that's like a personal choice, like which one you guys choose. So let's talk about more things on this one. So we have like a 233 grams in terms of weight. We have the glass front. Now this time the glass has been like upgraded, which is like a ceramic shield too. We get the aluminum frame, and it's not a sandwich kind of structure. Now we have like unibody and just a glass on the front. So I'm not sure like why Apple have used the aluminum. It's because like what they have talked like is because of the better thermals, because aluminum is much more better in dissipating heat rather than the titanium. And in that case, obviously, like if you're just using the case, so you wouldn't have to just think about much about the material on this phone. But yeah, if you're just you're not using the case, so that might be a bothersome for you. But yeah, again, you guys will be getting a better thermals on this one. Now here you're just getting the ceramic shield glass. Apple doesn't talk about like if it's the ceramic shield 2 glass. Now there are like two versions of this one coming in the US, and then there's other version for the Chinese and the Indian market, which is like the physical SIM. This one is not the physical SIM. This one is the eSIM. So obviously you're just getting a better battery life on this one, slightly, I think around 8% better than the previous version. On the with the physical one, you're just getting about 6% of the upgrade on the battery capacity on that one. Now, if we talk about the dust and water resistance, this one is IPCC dust, tide, and water resistance, and it's immersible up to 6 meter for 30 minutes. And if we talk about the display on the front, so it has the LTPO Super Retina HDR OLED, 120 hertz, and it has the HDR10 Dolby Vision, 1000 nits, and 3000 nits of peak brightness. Screen wise, it remains same at 6.9 inches, with 90.7% of the screen to body ratio. And all of the Apple iPhone 17 have the 460 ppi of density. However, like like it's like overall same pixel density, so the screen will be much more similar in terms of the resolution. It's around on the iPhone 17 Pro Max, you're just getting 1320 by 2868 pixels. It's 19.5 is to 9 aspect ratio. And yeah, so ceramic shield, like Apple says, like it's a MOHS level 5, so it will be like much more harder than what you get to see on the iPhone 16 Pro Max. And it has the anti-reflective coating. I've compared with the S25 Ultra, and it's still a bit lacking with terms to the anti-reflection on the iPhone 17 Pro Max. Out of the box, this one comes with the iOS 26, and there's like a Apple A19 Pro chip, which is a 3 nanometer architecture. It's a hexacore. You get to see like 2 into 4.26 gigahertz of performance cores. And I'm not sure like what are the hertz for the efficiency cores on this one. You get to see the Apple GPU, which is a 6 core graphics. I assume like this one has been better and increased. Now overall, if you see, so you have the memory options, so which is like a 256 gigahertz, and it goes 512 gigs, then 1 terabyte, and it goes all the way up to 2 terabytes of storage version. You would, if you would want to have like a 2 terabyte one. But yeah, this time like Apple have increased up to like 2 terabyte, which is that like in Canada it's around $3,000 in terms of pricing. The specific one is the 256 gigabytes. And It's a good thing like the Apple have increased the 12 GB RAM from 8 GB last year, and I believe like that will be just better in terms of the RAM management. And obviously you can just run much more windows. We just start using the phone, and I'll just make more videos to know like how the uh, RAM is actually holding while keeping the apps open, because iPhone is quite aggressive when it comes to like closing of the apps. Now, if we talk about the cameras on the back, so now this one has been upgraded. Like all three cameras are on 48 megapixel, which is kind of a good thing. Talk about the uh, like the specs of the camera itself. So you get like a 48 megapixel f1.6 24 millimeter wide main lens. It's 1 by 1.28 inch, and it's dual pixel PDF sensor shift and OIS. And now the periscope telephoto lens is around 448 megapixel f by 2.8, and the sensor size is around 1 by 2.55 inch PDF 3D sensor shift and OIS, and it has a 4 times optical zoom. So if you compare with the S25 water user, you're just getting around 5 times optical zoom on that one. Now the ultra wide has been improved on this one, which is a 48 megapixel f2.2, 30 millimeter 120 degree of ultra wide, 1 by 2.55 inch PDF DOF 3D lidar scanner depth is also can be seen on the phone itself. So with regards to that one, this has been improved. Now I really like all of the cameras now are being like of the same megapixel, like all are the 48 megapixels, so you can just expect this one to be much more smoother once you're just zooming in and zooming out of the camera. And you get the dual tone LED flash over here. You get the HDR photo panorama. With regards to the video recording capabilities, you can shoot up to 4K, all the way up to 120 FPS. There's a 10-bit HDR, Dolby Vision HDR, up to 120 FPS. You get the ProRes, you get the ProRes RAW, up to 120 FPS, and you get the 3D spatial, and you have the studio mics on this one. Now, with regards to the front camera, there has been a lot of upgrades has been made by the Apple when it comes to the front camera. Now, they have just used the square sensor this time. So, the benefit of the square sensor is like even in the landscape mode or the portrait mode, you can just capture like a wider field of view from the camera itself, which is, I believe, is quite a good thing. I think this is being introduced by the DJI in their 360 camera, and I believe like this is quite a good technology, and I hope so like for the front camera this will be the good option, like because you have since a square sensor, so that captures like more detail and you have like a more picture to play with. Now it can also record like 4K up to 60 fps, and obviously it can record the 3D spatial audio, and it has the stereo sound, ProRes RAW, and yeah, this all can be recorded with it. Now it has obviously the Face ID. That all sensors I think on the island would remain same on this one. With regards to the battery, like I just talked in the start of the video, like uh, the one with the nano SIM model, which is like a physical SIM version, has a 4832 mAh, but this one, which is like a eSIM only model, has a 5088 mAh. So you get the quite upgrade. I mean, obviously that is always beneficial, like to have like an extra uh, time on the phone itself. So yeah, I would just prefer like the eSIM version regarding that one. However, like we don't have any option in the North America regarding like to get the physical sim or the eSIM. Like it has to be eSIM that we can get it, or else we have to just source it from other part of the world if you want to have the physical sim version of this. Now, obviously, like there are benefits and disadvantages of the eSIM. Like it's more cumbersome when you once if you for the people like especially who are just keeping multiple phones and they just frequently switch sims in between the phones. So I believe for me, like uh, the physical sim would be much more better option than the eSIM one. But yeah, it depends from person to person. So yeah, if you're in a region where there's a law, not a great law and order, so you might just want to have the eSIM would be a much more better option because you are much more protected with terms to your data and your SIM as well. So yeah, I think that's kind of a benefit of the eSIM. That's Apple want to just keep the eSIM, and I think overall throughout the world there will be eSIM. Uh, there's like it's still like a 25 watts of wireless MagSafe charging on this one. You have the Qi 2 charger 50%, which says like in 30 minutes. Now this has been built into the phone itself. It's not in the case, like it has been built into the phone itself. You can also do the 4.5 watts of reverse charging. Now talking about the colors, so you get the silver, cosmic orange, and the blue. uh, I'm like a little bit disappointed with regards to the color option that Apple has given. The problem is currently many people are facing is like phone is getting a scratch very easily, especially the deep blue, orange, and especially from these corners, and even on the back itself, on the glass itself, especially the deep blue version. So I think the best option would be the one who doesn't use the case and want to go ahead with the. So you will be just better off with the silver if you're just using the phone without the case. And obviously if you're just using with a case, so you can just either way go with any of the phones. So it wouldn't make much more difference. Like the people, like we are talking so much about these stuffs, like all of the phones have like have some kind of issue at the starting. But yeah, any aluminum frame phone will have this issue. It's very common to aluminum. But yeah, it would be better with the thermals. Like you'll be just getting better thermals with the aluminum frame. So yeah, you have to just you will be just getting a better thermals at the expense of poor builds. You can say it's not a poor build. Like aluminum is a decent material to make the phone out of. It's a very uh, great phone to hold in the hands. Talking about the design itself, if you talk about the back of this phone, so it's, I think like this has been somewhat like very controversial, but I really don't like this gap in between. This like it feels like there's something missing on it. But my thinking is that like to just accommodate this square sensor, Apple might be needing this space, and it have just moved uh, the the LED and the lidar sensor and the mic on the right side, and to just make the space on the center for the equipment to be just in that part. I think so, yeah. But the benefit of this one is that there will be less wobbliness once it's being laying down on the flat on the surface. So there's really less wobbliness. Like if you compare with the 16 Pro Max, so they were like quite much in terms of the wobbliness once it comes to once we keep these ones on a straight table. So kind of it's a subjective terms design wise, but on the back, if you see this Apple logo, I believe this is somewhat like kind of a mess up by the Apple. Like uh, now the logo is just centered to this area and it's not centered to the phone. So it is kind of a mess for these for the case makers to make the appropriate case. Like if they have the magnetic jar magnet at the back, so that looks quite awkward, like misaligned. If you have the OCD, so this might be a bothersome for some people, like because the logo is not centered to the center of that magnet. So that's kind of a thing. I don't know like why Apple didn't choose to just make it like a center to the phone. Now, if you talk about the corners over here, so you can see like these are now much more smooth out. I think that's kind of advantage of the uni body. The thing is that like you get much more glass inside, so you if you are not using the case, so you are much more like susceptible to break the glass. Obviously, there will be a dent, but it will be much more stronger in terms of holdability. It's very non-slippery in hands. Uh, if you hold it in hands, like it's very less prone to slip. Like I remember the iPhone 16 Pro Max that's much more slippery in hands because of those. I mean that's good, but this one is better in terms of the holdability. Again, this one the corners are also very sweet. These are not so much or so less that is kind of a bothersome. And I think that's kind of a sweet spot, like so it doesn't dig into the hand. It's very much easy to hold in hands. On the left side, if we see, so we get to see like two antenna bands, the volume up and down. Then we get to see the action button. On the top, we get the I think this is the 5G antenna band over here. On the right side, we get to see the antenna bands. We have the power button and we have the camera button over here, which obviously you can just again modify as your liking. Now on the bottom, you get to see the speaker, we get the mic, and we have the type C charging port over here. and on the front obviously you get to see the 6.9 inches of the screen. So this kind of a decent screen. I assume like the Apple have used so much of antenna bands like all over the camera bump. If you see, there's just like antenna band. So I assume this is going to be a better connectivity than the 16 Pro Max, because they have used a new modem as well on this one. So you might be getting much more better reception, better signals of the Wi-Fi, and I think that would be just helpful regarding that one. Now, if you talk about the iOS 26, now this is like kind of a major upgrade, I would just say, in terms of the icons. They look so beautiful on this one. I really enjoy like using this phone with these different icons, and this has been quite good addition and aesthetics of the phone. Uh, it's very seamless, very smooth iOS, and obviously this is still in the upgrade phase. Like I just unboxed this phone and got just first upgrade. So yeah, so that's all for today. If you guys have any questions, you can just let me know down in the comments, and please like, share, and subscribe. And thank you for watching again. Have a good day. Bye.